Well, I'm a mystery to everybody. Not many believe I exist. Well, I'm alive and free, as real as can be, roaming through the forest of mist.
Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to part 4. I'd like to thank the California Seagulls for joining us. We're here at Pillar Point Harbor near Half Moon Bay, California. I'm with Buggs Adamson, and Buggs had a series of encounters on a rural property in Mendocino County in the early 1970s. So the last one he told us about was in, boy, that birds, this might not work. I guess the guy's cleaning fish nearby.
Yeah, he's probably cleaning fish.
Got some crabs. Okay, well, I can edit this out. Let's see if we can go over it. It's kind of good background sounds.
Okay.
Okay, well, so again, it's 1971, and the family, your brother Harry, and the family had the encounter walking into your cabin. Go ahead then and tell us what happened. Your 4th encounter with the Bigfoot on or near your property that your father owned.
Well, I went out and was making the morning hunt, and I was directly above the cabin. The cabin was down below in the creek, and I was on it'd be the southern end of the property and up above the cabin, a long ways up above the cabin. But a place that we call the old diggings, and I used part of my hunt was I'd hunt through there, then I'd walk through the old diggings and then go into the neighbor property, which was the fellow's name was Scott. We called that Scott's Draw. He owned the whole draw there and didn't mind if we hunted it. So as I walked through there, my method was to go up to this big old redwood snag that it's had no bark on it, but it was a piece of redwood tree that was about this big around, and it was burned hollow in the middle. It was hollow about this hollow, and then it was burned out on one side, and it was burned out all the way to the top of the snag, which was about maybe 12 feet, maybe 14 feet at the top of the tip, and it was about that big around, and it was that big around all the way up to the top. Maybe at the base it was about like so. But anyway, I used to lean against it and glass the other side of the canyon.
Right.
And it had a good view there, and you could hunt that whole side of the canyon from that one place there. So I was sitting there glassing and looking, and I was there for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then I figured, well, it's time to get out of here, and I started down out of there, and right below the snag there was a huge pile of poison oak, and this mess of poison oak is grown up. It was as high as this backstop here. It was way over my head, and it was about maybe half as long as this restroom complex here, and it went up the hill, and then the snag is above the poison oak.
Right.
And I walked down below the poison oak, and I was standing on the corner of it.
Right.
And I could hear this shuffling, and I looked up above it trying to see what this shuffling was, and I had it in the back of my mind, that's got to be that darn Bigfoot. And I was thinking, that's the only thing I know that can make a noise like that. I thought he was walking out there to see what I was doing, and so I walked down below the poison oak, and I was trying to look over the top of it, and it sounded like a darn rifle shot going off. And I looked up, and I could see that snag shaking, and then it is like a rifle shot, just like a gunshot went off, and this darn snag started down, and I figured, oh no, he's going to knock that thing over on me. But it didn't. I'm down below it, and maybe I'd say a good 25 feet down below the snag, and the snag fell over sideways. It didn't fall down the hill this way.
Right.
It fell this way, sideways on the hill.
He shoved it over.
He broke it and shoved it over. And what the heck? How the heck did that happen?
Right.
And I figured, oh no, he's going to throw that thing at me. Next thing I know, here it comes up. I could see it coming up sideways over the top of this poison oak. And I was just sitting there. He's going to throw that son of a gun at me, bigger than heck. And I seen the hands come up, and he just pumped it like he'd pump a basketball, and just two-handed wrist shot. And here come that big stinking old chunk of redwood straight over the poison oak at me. And I grabbed my gun, and I just shoved myself far back in that oak as I could do. I just jumped into it head first, and I hit, and then I spun around backwards, and I could see the log hit, and it hit exactly where I was standing. I mean, it hit just exactly where I was standing.
Wow.
I mean, he had me dialed in, and it hit, bounced, and rolled, and went all the way down to the bottom of that canyon and stopped in a little creek right at the bottom of that canyon. And I come up out of there, and dang, I was swearing. I told him, you do that again, I'll shoot your tail, you know. And I could hear that shuffling again, and I could smell the smell.
And again,
I could
smell the smell. Yeah.
I knew just as soon as I smelled that, when I heard that shuffling, that he was there. But I didn't expect him to break that old snag off and throw it at me.
Tried to kill you, Buggs.
Yeah, he tried to kill me. And that was my last encounter with him. He was getting serious there. And now that I look back at it, though, too, that place where he shuffled out of, I went in there a couple of times. I went in there once trying to chase a deer out of there. Mm-hmm. And my dad seen me go in there, and he watched me go through that place, and what a nightmare that is back in there. And there's a lot of great big redwoods back in there too, but in between it's this nasty tangle of manzanita and tan oaks and stuff, and poison oak. And coming through there, I ran a big old deer out of there, and he walked around and he stopped right where I went in, and then he waited until I got out, and then he was going to go right back in where I went out, and the old man shot him. He rolled down the hill and dropped on the road. He didn't even have to go up and get him. But yeah, there's a place for big bucks. That's where they get into, and I think he had his family or something in there. He didn't want me there.
Or you think he might have been hunting? You think he didn't want you getting the deer he might be after? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's
speculation. That's a theory too, Tom. But no, and that's right up where we had drilled that spring.
Yeah, talk about that. How your family had tried to first build the cabin up on the high ground, but you drilled the spring with no results immediately, so you moved down to the creek here.
To the creek, yeah, so you could get water. But we witched that thing, and the old man had his willow stick out there, and we took turns walking around the thing. My buddy Tom, that was with me on the other one, he was there when he walked across the parking lot too. But old Codfish, we call him, and he's a little skeptical about that kind of stuff. And the old man says, "Come on, Tommy, you try that." And he says, "Get a hold of it like this, You just walk around, and when you find the water, that thing's going to bend down, and you're gonna see it works. And we were sitting there having a beer and BSing and minding our own business, and Tom's walking all over the place, and all of a sudden he started yelling, "Hey, you guys, hey, like that, and that dang willow stick was bending down.
Right.
I mean, just like it's supposed to. It was bending down to the ground. He's holding it like this, and I never thought that kind of stuff worked, but it sure in heck did work.
You saw it.
But the old man went over there and he put a big old X on it with a pick, and that's where we started drilling. And anyway, months later, I was hunting through there, and all of a sudden I go down there. I jumped a nice deer out of there, and I missed him. And I went down to check and make sure I got a good clean miss, and here's water, just pure clear water bubbling up out of the old well hole. And there was a beautiful spring there.
So you created a spring,
yeah,
with your attempts to drill a well.
To drill a well, and I think a lot of critters were using that. They didn't have to go down to the creek, and they could stay up on the ridge and that heavy brush and not have to worry about coming down the creek. And I think that's what he was doing as well.
And that's where you had this last
That was my
near fatal encounter.
Yeah, and I hated that. He was trying to kill me.
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, because it wasn't harassing you while you were there. Didn't seem to harass you while you were hunting, except that one occasion. But here again, it just on a singular incident got to the point where. I mean, and do you think too, it was going to take you out to finish my thought, but when it snapped that snag over, could you have fled? Was that an opportunity to leave when you saw that old redwood snag and heard that pop?
I could have, yeah, I could have ran, but in the time that it snapped and it fell, I don't know what, it just dumbfounded me that something could push that over. I mean, that was a tempered piece of redwood, and it was green. You know, it wasn't so old. It was dried out, and that something could snap that off and break it and knock it over sideways. That just dumbfounded me, and I thought about just getting out of there, and then next thing I know, that thing come up so darn fast that, you know, he just picked it up over his head and sized me up and threw it.
Wow.
But if I'd have run down the hill when he threw it, I'd been dead. It had got me.
It would have come down after you, huh?
Yeah, it would have got me. I wouldn't have been able to, well, there's no way I could have got away from it.
Anything you want to say to sum up? First, I can't thank you enough for your time today. We've spent a lot of time going over this, so thank you. Anything when this is up on the YouTube, I'm sure people will have questions for you, and I'll try to relay those questions to you. And you, the viewer, will also see that Buggs here is an incredible artist and has drawn what he has seen on several occasions, and those of us in the Bay Area group and others have seen his drawings, and they're excellent. So, but we wanted today to get an oral recording and document your telling us these accounts, and so thank you again, Buggs.
All right, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, I guess I'll get on camera saying
All right.
thank you, Buggs. It's been a great day.
I just hope they find that rascal before I croak. You know.
Well, it would be great to
He's
get.
real.
Well, they're real. They're real. Get some evidence that would, bring it forth to society and to science, and hopefully do it without, having to kill one. But I know I should also point out, in all these times and these encounters Buggs and the family had, you were armed, but you never felt compelled to even try to shoot one.
Every time, and that last time, I had wrecked my 30-06, so I had a 300 then, and you know, 300. That's a lot of gun.
I don't know, but
that would take care of a Bigfoot.
But answer me this. I mean, did you ever feel like?
I never once even thought about shooting.
Okay, good. That's what I meant.
I mean, you couldn't. He's you couldn't shoot him. I mean, they're a person.
A wild person, but they're
they
wild.
may not have all the bells and whistles we do, but then again, they may have more.
Yeah.
I don't know, but how something that huge can stay so hidden
for this long.
Yeah, and I mean they're immense.
Yeah, there's an intelligence that's evident in all the accounts. It's a sentient being, a wild man, a wild person, and ultimately that the mystery is the elusiveness, right? The ability to stay hidden just enough to not be proven.
Yeah, like two times he stayed out of view. You know, he purposely stayed out of view. And of course that was right in the middle of the day too.
Right.
And then the other two, he just was. I think the one was an accident in the creek.
Right.
He didn't either. I don't know whether they probably don't smell like animals. You know, got a sense of smell like deer and things like that. But you know, he didn't know we were there.
Right.
And we surprised him. And the other time at the cabin, he knew darn good and well we were there.
Right.
And he walked out in front of us, just show us he was there.
I think so. Introduce himself to the neighbors.
Yeah, and if he didn't want to, you know, if he hadn't, he could have walked down the creek and then walked back up where he did when we seen him down there that one time, and went to the same place. So he didn't mind being seen.
Yeah.
At least that one time.
It's amazing. Well, these are truly amazing accounts, Bugs, and yeah, I know we'll have more questions for you. So thank you for now. I think we're good, and then I'll be in touch. Of course, you know, next month and when we meet, and probably before then to go over some drawings with you, or talk about drawing some of what you've experienced.
I been working on. I just been so long, and then trying to remember, you know, exactly what he looked like. I can get the body down, but to get his face down, I keep making him too fat.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna stop this now, and then.
I don't wear no boot, 'cause I'm the living legend they call Bigfoot. Can't take my time, I don't need no watch, 'cause I'm the timeless creature that they call Sasquatch. Hey!